I'm going to say, he's introducing anything?
You're live. Start.
Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmaswarupine avataravadishthaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme tayo shritva pranamami muhurmuhur Namashriyati Rajaya Vivekananda Suraye Sachisukaswarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. We have been studying about the meditation and concentration as a means of attaining to the proximity of God. Everyone practices concentration. From our childhood, we have been taught to focus on our studies and focus on the work which we have undertaken and which is very natural for us. But these are done usually unconsciously. Rather, the object of meditation dominates the very process of meditation. And usually it is done through the compulsion of desire. It's the desire to accomplish, to get something that is there in the process of meditation. But true meditation differs from being a conscious process involving detachment of the self or a detachment of the will from the lower desires, and it's focusing on some higher centers of consciousness. This is what happens in true meditation. Meditation is a stage in concentration, because concentration starts through prayer, worship, and in course of time it comes to meditation. So meditation is a stage, and it's common to all the paths of spiritual life. Any path you take, this is common. And meditation is of two types: subjective and objective. Subjective meditation is rather, it's an atma vichara, inquiry into the nature of our true self. It's a reflection or reason. And objective meditation is meditation on some object. This Patanjali calls it dhyana, and in Vedanta we call it upasana. Of course, Vedanta has incorporated some of the laws which are followed in the yogic meditation. It's incorporated, but still there are some difference between yogic meditation and Vedantic upasana. It will be good for us to just know some of the differences. And even Shankara, because this upasana all takes a lot of ideas and the steps from the yogic meditation, Shankaracharya defines it as meditation as a process of unwavering application of the same thought on some object, such as a deity prescribed by the scriptures, without being interrupted by alien thoughts. So that is the meditation defined by Shankaracharya. Now, in yogic meditation, the immediate aim is to understand the functionings of the mind, how the mind functions at higher level. Why? Why to understand? Because the more we understand how the mind works, the more we get control over it, and we can manipulate and manage our mind. That's the advantage. And its ultimate aim is to isolate the Purusha from the clutches of Prakriti. In the Gita, Sri Krishna says, the self, the Purusha prakritisto hi bhungte prakriti jan gunan karanam gunasangosya sadasadyoni janmasu. Because the Purusha, having established himself in the Prakriti and identifying himself with the gunas, enjoys the good and bad results of his action, and again Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Birth and death, death and birth, he goes through. So if I can control, understand, rather, better not use the word control, people don't like it. If I can manage my mind and know its functions at higher levels, through that, I can slowly isolate the Purusha from the Prakriti and I can be a witness. So, this is the advantage. This is the ultimate goal of yoga, yogic meditation. Whereas, on the contrary, the immediate aim of upasana is to unite the meditator with the deity on whom we meditate. And its ultimate goal is to unite the individual self with the supreme self. So in yoga, we separate it. There, the yoga becomes viyoga. That is in Vedic, yogic meditation. Whereas in Vedanta, in Vedantic upasana, it's unity. So the very meaning of the yoga differs. And the second difference between the yogic meditation and the Vedantic upasana is that in yogic meditation, God is an option. Meditation can be done on any object. Patanjali says any object you can use it as an object of meditation. And it can be God and it can be tattvas. And again, in the tattvas, you have got the 24 tattvas and you have got the Purusha. Anything will go for it. But in Upasana, Vedantic, God alone can be the object of meditation. Why? Because God is Mayadhish. He is not Mayadhin. He is beyond Maya. Someone who is free from all the limitations alone can be the object of my meditation, and thereby I can attain my liberation. What's the point of meditating on some tattvas which are also under the control of that which I am under control? So in Vedanta, God alone is the object of meditation. And in yogic meditation, you needn't have to have a preconceived ideas of reality. Not necessarily you need to have it. But whereas Upasana is based on Vedantic conception of reality, it just works within the framework of conceptual ideas, knowledge. What actually the Vedantic meditation does is it converts our theoretical knowledge or conceptual knowledge into intuition or direct perception at some time. So these are the general definitions, general differences between the yogic meditation and the Vedantic upasanas. Apart from the pure consciousness, all our thinking process are done through symbols. Symbols have great hold on our minds, all our thinking process. And it consists of form, name, and of course, the self has to be there. If without self, no perceptions can. These three, the form, the name, and the self, constitute the factors in the perception of the world or knowledge, whatever it is. As such, the upasanas, the objective meditations in Vedanta, has been also classified as meditation on the form, visual symbol, which is called as pratikopasana. And then meditation on sound symbols, name, namopasana. And meditation on the self. This is not the Jnana Yoga meditation we am talking about, not the Atma Vichara. This is also objective meditation, where the self is objectified. We objectify ourself and meditate on it. It is in between both. So these are that, and it's a very big subject, and it's take a long time. So I will concentrate on one particular upasana, that is pratikopasana. Just one, because in our Mat mission tradition, we mix all the three together. We just don't do one alone. When we meditate on our Ishta, we repeat the mantra, and before that, we think of ourselves as the self. So this Atma Vichara also is there. So a combination of the three is generally practiced. So let's focus on The Pratikopasana. What is this Pratikopasana? Meditation on divine form, visual symbol. Pratika. Pratika means going towards, something upon which the mind is focused. The visual symbol might be a picture or a vigraha, an idol, whatever it is. They should be looked upon as aids to concentration. Drishti Saukaryam, what the scriptures call. God should not be lowered to symbols, but symbols are to be exalted to God. We know very well in Swamiji's life how much he had to fight with our own kings and princes in Alva, king of Alvar and all. They were arguing with him. He had to make them understand that it is not to the wood or to the idol, oh Lord, oh wood, oh God, oh, we don't say. We are, this symbol is lifted, exalted to the position of God. Of course, this does not mean that all the deities and gods and goddesses of Hindu pantheon are symbols and nothing more. No, because thousands of illumined souls have realized the divinities behind these gods and goddesses. And as such, they form a part, attributes of Saguna Brahma. And another point we have to think is that in Upasana, concentration of the mind is not our concern. Our concern is to have the direct vision of the deity which is represented by the symbol. It's not just trying to see it, look at a picture, keep a picture in the shrine and look at it and then close the eyes and try to think of the picture. No, because a picture doesn't have the capacity to transform. It is the deity behind, the truth behind that. We need to convert this symbol into reality, in the depths of our consciousness, in the depths of our heart. It's a search for the soul's beloved. For this living and loving image has to be installed within our heart. Through meditation, when the meditation becomes deeper, the image, they say, sinks into the consciousness, dragging the mind deeper and deeper until it touches the very current of pure consciousness within us. We need to convert this imagination into reality through a steady course. There's a stages in upasanas. That's why they have classified these stages into three as meditation on form, rupa dhyana, meditation on the attributes, so guna dhyana, and meditation on the real nature of the deity, that is swarupa dhyana. Slowly we need to practice and go from one step to other. So let's take up what this rupa dhyana is. Visualization of the form of our chosen deity, concentrating the mind upon it. It's not like hanging a picture and looking at it, as I said, and then closing our eyes and trying to think of that picture. Of course, in the beginning, when we start learning meditation, in the early stages of our meditation, this divine image has to compete with thousands of our worldly images which are there in our mind, which crowds out. You start meditating, not in a fraction of a second, it's gone. Thousand other images come. So Yatishwarananda Maharaj, in his meditation and spiritual life, says it is good to repeat the a couple of stanzas of the meditation hymns. Like for example, when you meditate on Sri Ramakrishna, you have this Hridaya Kamala Madhye Rajitam Nirvikalpa, things like that. Or every deity has meditation hymn. It's not very difficult. Sri Ramakrishna Holy Mother's meditations are very, very beautiful. Especially the Holy Mother's meditation is so wonderful. As you keep chanting, it is just a few Sanskrit passages. Easily you can do it if you want it. It clearly describes Holy Mother, how she's wearing the cloth and the sari and the bangles, everything, how how she's radiating purity, all this. So this will bring into our memory the picture. This is a great help in this while practicing. This is the beginning stages. This is a great help. And then through prayer and worship and what do you call it? A relationship is cultivated. A loving relationship is cultivated. See, it's very easy for us to remember and even visualize the persons, people whom we love. No mother can ever forget the her child. As soon as she can immediately she can visualize it. Why? Love is the factor. So if we can have that love, actually upadana is not just meditation and loving adoration. If this love element is strong, it needs no one for us to meditate. Even animals love. Then what to speak of human heart, which is naturally endowed with this faculty of love. When through love, if we are able to steady this image in our hearts for some minutes, some seconds, a few seconds, and try to practice it, great changes come into our lives. It brings great changes in our consciousness and character. First thing is, it becomes a source of inspiration, constant inspiration, like a pole star in our mental sky, reminding us of our ultimate goal. It will never allow us to deviate. I remember a song from Rabindranath Tagore. Tomarei koriyachi jivanero dhruvatara. Eshu amudre arkobu hobonago patahara. I have made you as the pole star of my life. I will never lose my way in this ocean of samsara. So you need a pole star to guide your ship or boat, whatever it is. So that image which we have struggled hard and steadied in our mind or heart becomes a pole star and guides us, reminds us of our divine heritage and chucks the bad impulses and samskaras and arouses good samskaras. See what a good way of practicing discrimination in a very natural way. So this is called as Rupa Dhyana. The image of the deity on whom we are meditating is implanted in our hearts with great difficulty. It is true. But still, it is an image. It is a protrusion of our own mind. Still, it has lot of influence on our spiritual life. Then we come to Guna Dhyana. That is meditation on the qualities of the our chosen deity. This is there even in the first stage. Why else will we meditate? We meditate on these great personalities because of their beautiful virtues. We see, when we see a Buddha statue, what do we see in him? The universal compassion, that Maitri, that Karuna. It is this which comes. But when we are struggling in our meditation, this is not so obvious. But when the image is studied in our heart through the strenuous practice of the Rupa Dhyana, then naturally the mind becomes still, pure, and it just absorbs. There's no effort on the mind. Just like a sponge, when it touches the water, it absorbs all the water. Like that, when the mind comes in contact with this image and what this image holds, look at Holy Mother's image, the image of universal motherhood, that love, that purity, all this the mind absorbs and gets strengthened. This is like opening the chambers of our mind to let those vibrations, those powers to just sink in. This is actually the Guna Dhyana. It is not a discursive meditation, reflections, or the reasoning, intellectual reasoning. In the beginning, I used to do like that. Oh, mother's love, how mother did all this, fan this khichdi, and all that. And then I'm going into so many thoughts, a bunch of thoughts. That cannot be. Then reduce and reduce and reduce. And the very moment we see Holy Mother, that universal compassion, that great purity comes to our mind. And that's how the mind learns to absorb these wonderful qualities and which enriches our spiritual life. When these two are done with great love, concentration, and energy, that is zest, which Patanjali calls virya, there should be a lot of strength in us. When this happens for a long time, when we have succeeded to certain extent in holding the image firmly in the mind and absorbing those wonderful qualities which our chosen deity represents, and as a matter of course, the Swarupa Dhyana will come into. We don't have to strain, it goes. But what actually happens is, in the previous two meditation, it was the projection of our mind. It was an image. Like, for example, the very good example I always remember is from Sri Ramakrishna's life. Our in the last talk also I mentioned about Ramlal Datta, because my what do you call scope of study is very limited. Within the framework of Ramakrishna Vivekananda ideologies, I can present to you. There, he said, I used to meditate, but the object of meditation, the image was not at all real because it was a projection of a mind which is accustomed to matter. The mind had not absorbed the spiritual vibrations or whatever you say. But when Sri Ramakrishna awakened the spiritual consciousness, the spiritual center of the devotees, then it became alive, blazing with radiance. So that is what happens somewhat here too. Through this constant practice and with great aspiration, aspiration is a very, very important factor, which Sri Ramakrishna calls Vyakulata. Like how Gita calls Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Vishada is needed to inquiry. If everything is going on well, all these days we were enjoying, just running, not thinking. When this COVID came, people started thinking. So many messages. What introspections? How much they are taking subjectively. So all this comes when it's restrained. So through aspiration, we put a restraint on our outgoing tendencies. And when that yearning, when that Vyakulata starts, it's a Vyakulata yoga. That's a special yoga of Sri Ramakrishna, we can call it. So when this aspiration is strong, it awakens our spiritual consciousness. The buddhi gets illumined by the light of the self, and the image which had sunk deep, it just rises and floats on the surface of the pure consciousness. And that is the Swarupa Dhyana. It brings us close to the deity almost. Sri Ramakrishna says it's like a light in the lantern. I think I can touch it. No, there are a lot of barriers are there, but it's so clear. So that is what happens in our Swarupa Dhyana. These are the three steps generally prescribed in our scriptures, and the knowing ones have spoken to us in this way. But you see, each mind is unique. As many minds, so many paths, we can say. And progress in meditation need not go through all these three stages, nor the vividness of the images that we see in our meditation, the criterion of our spiritual progress. It at the most can offer as a guiding, what do you call, like which shows us the track. We are on the right line. So we can, that sort of guidance, we get it from it. But what's more important is our spiritual practices should bring some sort of awareness of higher realities. It should make us less selfish, and God and spiritual life should become our top priorities. And above all, our love for our chosen ideal must grow steadily. These are the general directions which are given by the scriptures in our upasanas. And this is more or less what we practice in our Ramakrishna Vivekananda tradition. With this, I end my talk. Namaste.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining this broadcast. I think, as most of you are aware who are watching today, we lost a very special soul last week. It was the revered Pravrajika Ajayaprana Mataji, Vice President of the Sri Sharada Mat and the Ramakrishna Sharada Mission. She had actually, in her long monastic career, spent 29 and a half years here in Sydney, establishing the first center of Sri Sharada Mat outside India. She had come here in 1982 and then returned to India in 2011 to spend her final years in Trivandrum. On Thursday, Mataji passed away, Thursday the 14th of May, in the Ramakrishna Mission Hospital in Trivandrum. The cremation was held the following day in Trishul. What we will be doing is providing you with a lot of information over the next couple of weeks through a couple of email circulars. So please keep a lookout for that. If you're not already subscribing to our MailChimp email circular, just send us an email via our website at www.saradavedanta.org and we can add you to the list. We will be presenting a lot of items and photos about Mataji and also about those last few days of her life. Also, there will be a few events coming up, most notably on the last Sunday of this month, the 31st of May. We will have via Zoom a memorial service for Mataji, and you're most welcome to join. And again, we will give full details about that in our email circulars. And so thank you very much for joining us this morning, and please keep in touch.